We are back. Here I am, flying Navarro, and today I am being joined by Mr. Jimmy Donafrio. Good morning, Jimmy.
Good morning. How you doing there, Robert?
Man, I couldn't be any better, man. I could be a little bit taller, maybe, but not any better. What's going on? Where are you right now?
Well, keeping busy, doing a little clamming and making boat deliveries, whatever I can do to make a living.
Man, I love it. You're semi-retired now, aren't you?
What's that?
You're semi-retired, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just applied for a job though with Rutgers right now. They're looking for a boat captain to run their research vessel. And
Really?
yeah, and it's kind of like a mile away where they dock it at the research center. And so we'll see if I get it. They're probably going to pick a younger guy, but I got a lot of experience, so
You
we'll
know
see what
what? I'll write you a letter of recommendation, man.
happens.
Listen, give them my number. I'll fucking take care of it for you.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I'd like to do it. You bring a lot of scientists out. They do research on fisheries and on the bottom structures and things like that. So be a fun job. It's only part-time, which is good.
Yeah,
And
that's
yeah, 20
perfect.
hours a week and they're paying like $50 an hour. It's a great deal.
It's better than a sharp stick in
Yeah.
the eye, man.
Yeah.
Actually, that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the podcast because
Yeah.
you were doing so much fishery stuff back before I even knew that was a thing.
We were killing it. I got a list of things that we did here. I wrote it down, made some notes. Um,
We'll go
I mean,
through. Listen, start.
yeah.
Go
I
for it.
mean,
We can hit on
Well,
all
I
those
mean, like,
topics.
like one of the first things we did when we first started, we were having trouble with the reduction boats, the ones that take all the menhaden out and then reduce them into meal.
Yeah,
And they were in state waters where they were a real problem because what it affected is migrations of stripers in particular. You take the bait out of an area, and the bait, as you know, always precedes the bite. So if you don't have the
100%.
bait, the fish aren't going to show up. They just keep going. So we got at them along Island Sound. We got them out of the sound. That was good. And you can see now the striper fishing in the sound is off the charts. And then we got the ones in New Jersey, got them out of there, moved them out 3 miles, and they still fish, but they're not affecting, right? Actually, they took 33 million pounds out of just Long Beach Island area the last week they were here.
Wow.
And yeah, that was a lot. And we didn't have much fishing. I mean, the striper fishing off of Long Beach Island is the best it's been in years. So it's made a big difference. The other thing we did, we got the pair trawlers out of the canyon. That was a big thing. That was an experimental fishery where two boats would be right alongside each other, run down 100 fathom, and they were catching everything, all
Oh
kinds
my
of catch.
God.
Yeah, it was a French net they developed. They called a silent net, and the lateral lines of the fish didn't pick up the sound, and they would go down and they would just get everything. So we worked on that, got rid of them. We also worked together with the commercial guys to get rid of the open ocean drift nets and that were in the Atlantic. A lot of people didn't know that. They had miles and miles of net just drifting out there
Killing
and
everything.
catching everything. And it was a very wasteful fishery. And we're not anti-commercial. It's just that it was stupid practices we don't need. We don't need that kind of unsustainable. One of the biggest things we did was white marlin was going to get listed as endangered species.
There's a lot. You know what? I want you to go into that a little bit besides just putting it on there. A lot of these younger guys that are listening to the podcast, they don't realize how close we were to putting them on the endangered species list, and that would
Oh,
have changed everything.
there would have been no tournaments, would have been over. See, under ESA, there's a habitat provision, right? So if you're protecting white marlin, you're also protecting any species that's in the area of them while you're fishing. And when you're out in the canyon, you got big eye, you got yellowfin all around that same area of the bait. So that would have kind of basically shut down the canyon. So what happened was Hogarth was in charge at the time. He was the AA in fisheries.
Uh-huh.
And the environmental industry really had a big, big deal going on. They wanted to make ESA. So Bob Healy Sr., who was great, he was amazing. He was my mentor. He was my sponsor at Viking. He was the guy I worked very closely with. And I told Bob, I said, I can get us a meeting in the White House, and I think we can stop this. As I knew a fella a very powerful lobbyist and lobbying firm in D.C. His sister was married to Andy Carr, who was the chief of staff to George W. Bush. So
Wow.
I called him up. I said, "What's it going to cost us to get in the White House for the day?" And this is a bargain in the old days. I mean, today it would be $1 million. He said, "Tell Mr. Healy it cost him 25,000 for the day." Bob says, "Jim, go do it." So we went to the White House and we sat down with the president's number one guy there in charge of everything. And he called Hogarth on the phone when we were there. And he said, "You are not listing white marlin." "Yes, sir," because it came right from the White House. And that was it. We killed it. And that saved the tournaments. It saved a lot of things, and
And then shortly thereafter, they discovered that fishery off of Virginia Beach with
yes.
tens of thousands of white marlin.
Yeah.
They were
Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
Oh my God, yeah, yeah. And I remember when I was fishing years ago, we used to go up. Dougie Lindley was one of the pioneers in this up in Nantucket. Great fisherman, great captain, and we go up there in June in that cold water, and there were tailors up on the surface. And you get the live scup, and you
Yeah.
cast them out to them, and you catch these giant white marlin. I mean, a lot of them were like 100-pound fish, and we don't see that anymore. Everything's changed over time with the water color and the water changing, but.
Yeah.
But that white marlin thing was great. And then what we did, being involved at ICAT, and you know how frustrating that process is, right? So
Oh
the
boy.
European community was overfishing on the bluefin. They were overfishing and they were selling them to Japan. And Japan's going to buy them. I mean, Steve Sloan used to say years ago, you got to stop the buying market, not the catching market,
Yeah.
As long as they got a market, they're going to catch. So we filed a 301 lawsuit. Now that's under the Trade Act of 1974, where U.S. companies or U.S. anybody can file against another nation outside the U.S. for unfair trade practices. And we had this thing going. It was going so good, it was going to pass. And the White House called us in for a meeting. And they said, the trade rep at the time was Grant Aldonis, great guy. He said, "Jimmy," he said, "look, we'd love to do this. We'd love to do this, but it's going to cause a real trade war with the European community. But here's what we'll do. We're going to send the rep over, which was Sloan Rappaport, who worked for the president and the secretary at the time. And Sloan went over there I was at the meeting in Spain, and he came over there with a very powerful letter from the president to rein them in. And guess who blocked the letter? And you know who? Deidre from the State Department. Okay.
Really?
She was, and I'll say it, I don't care. She's been the biggest problem we ever had. I sat on ICAT for years and I saw her apologizing for the US fishermen and bowing to the Japanese all the time in the meetings and sucking up to them. The State Department and anybody that works at ICAT can tell you that the State Department's been our biggest problem. They're the guys that apologize for the U.S. all the time. Lead by the chin. Let's just volunteer more conservation for conservation purposes, and it means nothing.
We're
Uh,
the most regulated fishery in the
we
world.
are. We are. We do a great job. I mean, look at Bluefin, the way they came back because of what we did.
Oh my
And
gosh. It's
and I
ridiculous.
remember, I remember at the time when I sat on that committee, they were trying to get Bluefin to change it to be one stock and not east and west. And actually, we know it's really one stock because Mathers and the guys that did the studies. The problem is the management, the way they do it, you're better off because if it was under one stock, the European community would be catching all our fish. We'd have nothing. We would have nothing. So we made that argument and we won that. They were trying to put it under one stock theory again, and we'd have no bluefin fishing. Right now, we're tripping over them. There's so many of them here on our coast. It's great.
You
They're
know, it's funny you bring that up because it was this past summer. We had gone over on our quota, on our ICAT quota.
yeah,
And what people don't understand, and I pitched a fit at HMS. I started serving on HMS 12 years ago. I had to
yes,
sit a year out, and I just got reappointed 2 weeks ago.
great.
I've been on ICAT now 3 years. Um, and we owed quota back. And when they released all the retention limits for 25, my biggest gripe was, listen, I understand why we're doing it. Explain it to the public. Explain it to the fishermen why we're doing it. We went over on quota. We have to repay that quota back the following year, but they never did that. So everybody's like, why are we going down in quota when we're seeing more fish than we ever have? This
That's
isn't
right.
fair.
That's
And
right.
listen, if you explain why we're doing something, people will understand. People understand you take out a loan, you got to repay the loan. Well, we went over, we have to repay it back. Just
Yeah.
explain it to the people. And
Yeah.
with things like this podcast or social media, it's not like you got to put out a giant fucking paper and spend billions of dollars doing it. Somebody
Yeah.
just needs to get off their lazy asses and explain it to the people. The people want to know. People want transparency. Hey guys, the fishing was so great. It went over. We went over by 50%. We have to repay it back to the quota. Okay, I don't like it, but I understand why we're doing it now.
Right.
And what we've seen, you're 100% correct. What we've seen in the fishery, in the bluefin fishery over the last few years has been absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You're starting to see him back in old spots that you haven't seen for fucking decades.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, you guys did well back then.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's just, and again, the State Department's always been the problem. I'll tell you, we're at the meeting now. We're at the ICAP meeting in Turkey, and Rich Ray and I agreed that we need a recommendation and put it forward that we now hold the buying country, okay, that's a member of the committee, a member of ICAT, we hold them responsible for the overfishing, which means we would have punished Japan, right? Right away, right away, Deidre came in and told Hogarth, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. Why? I don't blame the fishermen from Spain and France and those countries. I've been to those meetings where they come from all different areas and they actually speak different dialect from, in Spain, everybody in a different area. They don't have a fishery service like we do, where everybody understands there's a regulation. Whether you're a fisherman from Florida up to Maine, you understand the rules, right? Well, right there, you have all these different regions and the guys get up in the morning, they have their cappuccino or their espresso, they go on their boat, they fish, they come back. They don't have this regulatory stuff like we do in the knowledge. So they're going to fish. As long as there's a market, they're going to fish. And you have to shut the market down and punish the guy, the marketer that's buying the overfish. That's Japan. Okay. Japan will buy anything that swims, and we know that, right? And course, Deidre, she's still apologizing for World War II. That's what I used to say at the meeting. Hogarth said, you can't say that. I said, oh, you're still apologizing for two bombs. That's what you're apologizing. And they get mad at me for saying the truth. And that's what's going on. We keep apologizing to Japan and we let them buy overfish. That's what they do. And they'll buy everything. And we see it even with the whaling. I mean, they make excuses for all the whales they're killing. I mean, they do what they want to do, and nobody says anything about it.
I That's not the only country I've had whale in.
Oh
I,
yeah,
I've been to quite a few countries. I've been to Norway, and they have a pretty big market for was it minke whale? I think it is.
yeah. The minke whale. Well, I understand that one better than I ever did because I went to the Minister of Fisheries at the time flew me over to Iceland for a meeting on that whole thing,
Uh-huh.
and I went over there and he explained to me about the minkies. The minkies are like porpoise. There's so many of them. And they only want to harvest like 21 or 22 a year. It's very well managed. And the reason why they do it is because the minkies, they eat so much of the food around the blue whale that they impact the blue whale. And so they want to keep it
Oh,
well managed to keep the blue whales healthy. Yeah. I
and that
didn't know
makes
that until I
and
went
that
there.
and that makes sense because
Yes.
the blue
Yes.
whales are definitely they're stressed.
Yes, they are. And they can't take all that competition when they're surrounded by minkies trying to feed. You've been around feeds where you see one fish and the other ones are trying to get all the food, and that's
Yeah,
what happens.
especially those
So,
big ones. They don't
yeah,
have the agility that all them little
yeah,
fish do. So, Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that about the Minkies.
Yes.
I didn't know that about the
Yeah.
Minkies.
Yeah. It was an interesting trip. I learned a lot there. I even had minky sashimi at one of the restaurants there.
Did you?
And it was the best beef I've ever eaten in my life. It was that good.
Wow.
It was good.
I never had it as sashimi. I've had some crazy
Yeah.
things as sashimi before.
Yeah, we had an interesting trip. I told Arnie, I said, why don't you guys have a party boat business here in Reykjavik? He goes, you think we could? I said, I know that we could go out a mile from the shore, catch all the cod and haddock ever. And he goes, really? He goes, I'll tell you what. He goes, I'm going to get you a boat tomorrow. You take us out and show us. So I went to the local store, bought another pair of slickers and boots, right? I bought some jigs and stuff, and they gave me a whaleboat. And I went out with the whaleboat captain, right? And there was a dragger,
Yeah.
and I'm up in the pilot house with him. We're a mile off the beach, and he's got the machine on. I go, stop here. These are cod. He goes, really? I go, I can see the bladders. We stopped and we dropped down. We started catching cod and haddock as fast as we could drop down a mile
Oh
off the.
my gosh.
I'm running around and I'm filleting and I'm doing everything. I swear to God, it was. So I made the case. You guys have to have a party boat business here for the locals. It'd be great, you know. And they just never did it. But then
You know what?
they
Most of them European countries, they're horrible with recreational fishing.
yeah, yeah,
They're horrible with it.
yeah,
Even now, you're talking about the EU. I have my friends in France and
yeah,
in Spain. They shut down everything for them recreationally. And if
yeah,
you're not a commercial guy, you can't go out and, catch a couple of bluefin or a
yeah,
swordfish. They've shut it down.
yeah, yeah,
It's not. Listen, speaking from the position of a recreational fisherman,
yeah,
the amount of money that's available in recreational fishing way outdoes commercial.
yeah.
Yet I'm a supporter of commercial fishing. I'm not trying to stop it at all. I'm just
Right.
trying to say that there's a spot for everybody.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's got to be something that's discussed and negotiated and make sure.
That's right.
Uh, Listen, if you want fishermen in the future, you better start now. You
That's it.
better get that young generation out there, and especially with these stupid things. I can't say stupid. I'm sorry, iPhone. I'm sorry. I wasn't talking about you. I
Oh
love
my
you.
God.
I love
I
you.
know. I know. I know. Well, the other thing we got to get them to do over there, as you know, that one of the meetings we were at Spain, right? We were in
Yeah.
Spain, ICAP meeting. So I had a break. And I went down to there's a local newsstand there to get a newspaper, and I saw all these magazines for sport fishing, right? And they have a whole bunch of tournaments over there for tuna, right? But they don't report. They don't report, see? And this is the thing that we kept arguing about with our State Department people that look at, you guys want to hold us accountable for every ounce of fish, but our partners here are not, they're in violation. They're not reporting. They're supposed to report their fish, and they don't. And this goes back to what you say. We get an overage, and right away we're going to pay it back, but nobody's reporting over there. Nobody. And it's unfair. And that's why we filed a 301. It's an unfair trade practice, and it still goes on to today, Fly. It still goes
No,
on.
listen, one of the arguments that I have, and again, I'm a newbie when it comes, even though I've been part of HMS for 12 years, I'm a newbie. There's guys on that board with me, Rick Weber. Rick Weber's
Yeah.
been there for like 25 years. That guy
Yes.
is like a wealth of, not like, he is a wealth of knowledge. I talk to
Oh, he
him and
is.
I really feel like he should be charging me 900 bucks an hour because he's an attorney when it comes to fishing management. And do not charge me, Rick. Don't get any fucking ideas. But
Rick is the
listen,
best one. He's the best one for doing the process part, the complicated process part, of
yeah.
putting that all together. And then you got Ray Bogan, who is brilliant at negotiating. I mean, we got a great team, and then you got Piernock. We got three good guys on that
Michael is
for
a
the recreational.
great, great guy.
Yeah, Yep.
Michael is a great guy. I've
Oh yeah.
really enjoyed
Yep.
getting to know Michael over the last 12 years.
Yep.
He's a great guy, and I got to get him on the podcast to talk about
Yep.
fisheries up there because he's just a wealth of knowledge. He's a charter guy out of that area. He knows
Yeah.
what it's all about.
Yep.
So yeah, it's people don't understand how much work goes into all these fisheries.
Oh yeah.
When I first went into business for myself and I stopped working on boats, I thought to myself, and I got to give a lot of this credit to Skip Smith because when I was younger, in my early 30s, he says, "Hey, you're at a point in your career, you're gonna make this into a full career. You need to look at how you can give back, whether you are speaking at seminars or going to fishing clubs or going to fisheries or working with nonprofits. And me, because I'm just an overachiever, I do them all. I join fisheries, I join nonprofits and foundations, but I really started looking into fisheries, and it was overwhelming at first because it's a lot of
Oh yeah.
legalities. It's a
Yep.
lot of legalities, but little by little, after a while, you start seeing the pitfalls and the best way. And please, I would like for your comment on this. I was told, and I can't remember who told me this. HMS is slow. ICAT is glacier slow.
Yep.
And it is unbelievable how slow. I'm not used to it. I'm used to being on a boat. Hey, these hooks aren't working. Change it. Okay, you change it. The
Yeah.
fishery management is not like that.
Not at all. And I can tell you from my experience, we worked the Hill for years hard. I mean, I registered as a lobbyist and I was down here sometimes 4 days a week. And I can tell you, as you know, every member of Congress, a House member, has a million constituents, right? So with that million constituents, there's people in there with from every walk of life with different problems, whether it's health, education, veterans, you name it, they've got to deal with it all. They told me the most complicated thing that they work on is when we give them a fisheries issue. Can you imagine that?
Really?
Congress. Yes, members of Congress, most complicated, complex. You give them a veterans issue, it's probably, it's either black or white, one or the other. But
Yeah.
you give them a fishery issue and it gets so complex. And they've said that to us. And I can
Well,
see that,
I
you know?
can, when you think about it, uh, when you go into fisheries management or when you go into the meetings, you have the managers themselves that work for NOAA.
Yeah.
Then you
Yeah.
have academics,
Right.
you have environmentalists,
Yep.
you have commercial, and you have recreational. So you actually have five different viewpoints as
That's right.
opposed to black and white. You have everybody that's fighting for a little piece of that pie. And I can see why it's one of their most toughest issues because of that. You're dealing with five different people, five
Well, that's
different
right.
groups.
And that's what happens to us. For instance, like we had a tremendous Magnuson amendment we put in years ago. Put in a couple of different times. What it would have done, it would have allowed for sustainable fisheries to continue, but it would have allowed for better access to the stocks to, let us have more fish based on the real science. Then you have the environmental industry fighting that, saying, no, they want to rein us in. We have too many boats, there's too many people fishing. Then you have the different groups like the CCA, the American Sport Fishing Association at the time, and even the NMMA, the National Marine Manufacturers. They wouldn't back us up on it. They wouldn't back us up. And it gets so complex. So now you go to a member of Congress, you got a really good thing here, a great amendment, it makes sense. And then they hear from these other groups that it doesn't make sense, so nothing gets done. That's why it's slow. Nothing gets done because everybody's pulling against each other instead of together. And one of the key things I mentioned years ago, and I'll say today, if you remember Lee Iacocca from Ford, right? Years ago, because I remember driving in my father's car when I heard that he went to Congress to get money, right? And they told him no. They told him no. So he said, okay, no problem. So he called all his accountants in and he said, I'll tell you what, you identify every single company, little company, big company that builds parts for us for anything, in any congressional district around the country. And he had a list. He had a list. And when Congress saw that, they gave him the money. I told NMMA that's what they need to do. They don't do that. They have a certain amount of members. So those boat builders, those engine companies, there's so many people out there in different towns and cities that have something to do with the marine industry, jobs. And if they can put that list together, we can get things done for us, for the recreational sector. We can be a powerhouse, but we're never going to be. We're going to sit there on the sidelines and we're going to have the environmental industry guys yank against us, this group with another opinion, and that's why nothing will get done. Nothing will get done. We've got the jobs. We do. We have it. We
We
have the
have tons
horsepower.
of jobs. We
We
have a
got the
lot of.
dollars, but it's not organized. It's not organized. It's not because everybody's pulling against each other. There's too many egos. Bob Healy was the best, senior. He used to tell me, Jimmy, don't worry about taking credit. Just keep moving forward. He was right. He wanted to take a military approach and just keep going, just keep moving forward. And that's what we always did at the RFA. But we
eh,
had so many
for,
people going against
for
us.
for people that aren't familiar, uh, describe what started the RFA and what you did through your years at the RFA, because
Yeah,
there's a
well,
lot of young guys now
yeah,
have never even heard of it.
right. I was fishing at the time. I was fishing out of Treasure Key. I was working for a guy who had a Viking, a 53 Viking, and I was frustrated. I kept, everybody I was hearing everybody on the radio talk about how we're being treated by the fishery service. So I said, I'm going to start an NRA of sport fishing, you know. And then I read an article in the National Fisherman about Bob Healy, Sr., complaining about nobody's getting anything done. All right, nobody. No, none of the groups are getting it done. They're not making it happen. So I called him up and I told him what I wanted to do. And I wrote a business plan for him. And then I called the JFK School of I guess it's political science at Harvard. I called their professor up, and I said, "What book should I read if I want to be lobbying?" And he gave me a list. I bought them all. I read them. I studied it. I put the program together. Mr. Healy put up the money, right? He put up the money, and we went at it. We started, and we were very, very a 501c4 lobbying group. And right away, we got resistance from the people that were supposed to be working with us, not the commercial guys, the CCA, okay, and the ASA. They tried to stop us from day one out of jealousy, and we were effective, and it was amazing. They said one of them even said at a meeting that Bob Healy was a loose cannon, which was a real insult. And actually, I wanted to fight the guy, and Bob had said, "You can't do that. You're not on the docks anymore."
You can't do
That's
that
that's what he
shit.
that's what he told me. Bob
Oh
was the
my
best, but it's just
God.
he's insulting the guy. Him and Bill Healy founded the Viking Yacht Company, two brilliant guys. I mean, leaders in the industry, visionaries, and he's calling them a loose cannon because he wants to save an industry. And they were just jealous because we were there and making it happen. See, we were doing things that no one else wanted to do. We always believed they just kept having meetings and sending press releases out to keep people funding them. As long as they're not getting it done, but given a perception that you're getting it done, you're going to keep getting money, and that's what they do. And that's what a lot of the lobbying firms do. The lobbying firms are amazing. They'll have 200 clients and they say they're doing stuff for you, but they're really not because one client's in conflict with another. So they just keep taking money from you. That's all it is. And they get nothing done. It's a horrible, horrible thing that's going on in Capitol Hill. It is a swamp. I mean, I worked it for years. I saw how bad it was,
And, and it's on every topic. It's not
Oh,
just
it's
fishery.
it's
It's every topic.
It's so
Because
bad down there. It's so corrupt. I'll give you a perfect example. I was a member of the Capitol Hill Club, which is the Republican club, and great club. It was great. We then members of Congress would be there, senators, and I got to sit at this one special table because a couple of the congressmen friended me, and one of the big time lobbyists. I can't mention his name on the air, but I'll tell you, he was big. He was big in the Republican Party. He had a fundraiser at least one or two nights a week. He had a private driver. He's a seven-figure guy, and so when Trump was first running, I said to him, I said, "So, Bill, who do you want?" He goes, "Well, I want Jeb." I go, "Well, Jeb ain't going to make it." I go, "Well, who else?" He goes, "Well, I'll take Hillary." I go, "Wait a minute. Did you just say Hillary?" He says, "I'll make money with Hillary." And that's what it came down to because I knew who his clients were, Department of Defense and people like that. So if you're going to drag wars on and bring the military complex into wars, you're going to make money with certain people. And this is what it's about. It's just not about what's best for us. And the
Yeah.
same goes on with the fishing. We're lucky now that we have Hanyo Solar, the new AA, is wonderful. He's probably the best we could have ever had, in charge of the fishery service. But, he's up against probably a lot of ingrained career people and within NOAA that have a different viewpoint of getting things done. So he's got a struggle there, but he's doing a great job for us.
Yeah. Listen, it's one of those things. Again, there's slow and then there's glacier slow.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
just
yeah.
and
Yeah.
you got a lot of people constantly pulling at you. I don't know if you saw the podcast that just came out with the shark issue. And I've been banging on this drum for about 8 years, and
Yeah.
I know I was gonna plan on talking to you about it at some point during this. I didn't expect it to be this fast, but whatever. Um, it was so Noah knew that they were starting to have a problem with these sharks, and so what they wanted to do was put up recipes on their website, which still flabbergasts me because you guys aren't you're a fishery service. You're not a fucking cooking magazine. But they put up recipes for shark recipes. And in the podcast, I've always known it that they had it taken down in less than 7 days. One of the guys I had on was Dr. Marcus Dreyer from Mississippi State University. He says, no, no, no. It was less than 2 days. Within 2 days, somebody from Capitol Hill called Noah and said, take it down now. Take it down. And, these people that are working there, and as much as we get frustrated with them, uh, they answer to somebody higher up.
Oh,
They,
yeah.
they definitely do. They answer to somebody that's higher up. And that's something that we got to think about. We can be upset at them. We could be not happy because they're not doing what we want them to do or in the speed we like them to do. But,
Yeah.
they answer to somebody else,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
you know?
the House and the Senate, the people that fund them. So, all it takes is a couple of calls from some of the Pew people and the extreme environmental community to call their senators and their House members, and they start putting pressure on them.
And
You
these
know?
environmental groups, it's amazing the amount of money they have.
Oh, I remember when Ocean Champions started their pack. They started because of the RFA. We were so damn effective. They actually wrote some kind of a book, and I got it somewhere. John might have it, the person there.
Yeah.
They wrote it about us at the RFA. The environmental community wrote about us, how effective we were, and that they have to do the same thing. And that's when they started getting organized because they saw how effective we were down on the hill. We had a pack, we did fundraisers for members of Congress all the time, and we were getting things done. And they saw that, so the environmental industry jumped right on board, and it was crazy. In
I
fact,
re
I got called in by one of the people from Pew years ago. He asked me to quit the RFA and come work for them. And the salary that he offered me it's just astronomical. And I told him I'm not doing it. I can't sell my soul for any price, you know?
Yeah,
And
when
that's
you
it.
believe in something, you believe in something.
Yeah, yeah, it's just not good, you know. But they're powerful. They got a lot of money and they give a lot of money to the politicians that are I don't even know if they believe in them, but as long as they're getting money, it's the mother's milk down there, you know?
Yeah, man, I'm running across an NGO right now. Um, I got a phone call, and they said on one of my podcasts, it didn't even
Yeah,
have to do with the shark stuff. I got hey, just so you know, the people you're platforming, they're being backed by an NGO. You may want to look into it. And as I looked and dove deeper, I realized this NGO was actually what's pushing this whole shark ban, this shark fin ban. And so I've been digging and digging and digging, and every time I turn around, it's like, man, they are everywhere. And I'm getting
yeah,
ready. I gotta. You know what? I'll text it to you so you can take a peek at it. It was somebody shared it with me on Facebook
yeah.
in a message, and it's in English, but they showed a commercial that they're pushing out on social media that is, I think it's in Thai. It's either in Thai or Chinese, where they're trying to shut down all consumption of shark. And what they said is you should pick on your friends on social media if they post anything that they're eating sharks. And I'm like, they're promoting cyberbullying. They're literally promoting the one thing you hear on everything. Don't bully nobody. Don't, no cyberbullying, no bullying. They're telling people if you see your friends eating sharks with their family, complain to them, inundate their inbox that they shouldn't be eating sharks. And I'm like,
Uh,
listen,
this this
it's
whole
a
shark,
resource.
yeah, this shark fin ban it doesn't make sense. See, the countries that are killing sharks just for the fins, we don't do that.
We don't. We
No,
never have.
and any U.S. fisherman that brings sharks on board, they can't keep the fins. They should be allowed. The shark's dead anyway. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's another feel good
That's
law.
all it is.
Yeah, and that's what the environmental industry does, you know. Most of them don't have any salt behind their ears, so that tells you a whole bunch about who's involved. Well, you know,
No,
not
no.
one of them.
I've been contacted by a lot unwantingly. I remember it's been about 4 or 5 years. Um, I started banging the drum at HMS about the shark problem. Nobody was listening, so we decided to put on a shark tournament. And the guy that was doing all the tournament directing, they doxed his family, they doxed his kids, and I said, "Listen, I don't have any children. I'm not married. You're not doing any more media pieces. I'll speak because I don't want you to put your family in danger."
Yeah.
And literally, I started getting 2 to 3 death threats a night,
Oh, I
a
can
night.
imagine. I can imagine. Yeah.
And little by little, you start figuring out these people don't live anywhere near the ocean. They live in Minnesota, Missouri, UK, South Africa. It's like, come on, man. You
No,
guys have never been on the water to see this problem.
I
And
know.
it's a problem.
Oh, sharks are, and you know what's funny? This whole thing started, you know, with Sonia Fordham. You know that, right?
With what?
Sonia, remember Sonia Fordham?
Oh, from Oceania.
Oh, this all started with her. This goes back to probably 1995. I rarely went to any of those council meetings because they're a waste of time, but I went to the one in Philadelphia and I walked in and she said, "Hello, Jim." She said, "I want you to support us. We're trying to get dogfish protected, right?" And I said to her, "Are you out of your mind?" I said, "I just got done fishing." I said, "For a living." And I said, those suckers ate all my fluorocarbon up in one bite because remember when fluorocarbon was $1 a foot?
Oh my God, it was ridiculous. It's
We were
still
dry,
fucking ridiculous, but
we were
it's not what
giant,
it was.
we're giant fishing out in the mud hole, right? Nikki Spencer
Yeah.
Rowe, Pizzano, all of us, we're fishing for giant tuna, and we got five 130s out, right? And sure enough, here comes the dogfish, and we got to change the fluorocarbon every 5 minutes. I mean, there were so many dogfish. Quiet. My dog, she's
He
talking
heard
to me.
you say dog.
She's talking to me. She's talking to me. You be quiet.
No, no, go ahead. So you
Yeah.
were
But
changing
anyway,
all your
yeah.
fluorocarbon.
Yeah, there's so many of them. I remember that last October I fished. Nick called me up and I just got off a boat. He said, "Hey, you want to fish out of Chatham with us for giants?" I said, "Sure." We're running out in the morning. There were so many dogfish we went over. We'd have to back up to get them out of the wheels. It would, I've never seen it.
Wow.
It's and the commercial guys need to catch more quota. They're giving them a little more here and there, but they're eating everything. They're eating all the juvenile blackfish, all the juvenile sea bass. They're, this
That
is all due to Sonya. She made this
well,
happen.
well, listen, and as easy it is to put it on one person, she has to have people backing her.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
she's just the spearhead of it.
Yeah.
There's so many people that believe in this.
Oh yeah. She got it
So
going though.
and
Yeah.
and here's the thing, that's what's happening with the overall shark population now. It's starting to eat into other fisheries as well.
Yeah.
Like you saying, black bass. They're eating snapper and grouper and
Oh
sailfish. I know, you were talking about John a little while ago. There was an email that was sent out by HMS considering having all HMS tournament directors report how many depredations we're having in our tournaments. And I'll never forget, it was December 23rd. I'm like, John, I am so sorry. I'm calling you 2 days before Christmas, but you sent that email and you're going to get a phone call from me. I said, I would be willing to report my depredations as an HMS tournament director if and only if they take depredation questions from every other part of our industry. Head boat captains, charter boat captains,
yep.
everybody. I don't
Mhm.
want us to be the only one because then they'll shut us down
Yep.
because we're only allowed 250 marlin for a year. And if you count depredations, they could shut us down in an instant. And
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want, this has got to be, if you really want to know the problems, you have to look at all fisheries, not
Yeah.
just one. You got
Yeah.
to look at all of them because listen, this isn't just an offshore issue anymore. You can't
Yeah.
catch a tarpon without it getting eaten. You can't catch a snook inshore, a trout, bonefish are getting eaten. It's a problem.
Yeah.
And what my concern, and I've said this 100 times, and I'll say it 1,000 times over. My concern is this is going, the wrong person is going to get bit. It's going to be the son or a daughter or granddaughter of somebody that has way too much pull, and now they say, wipe them all out.
Yeah.
And that's not going to fix the problem. It'll slow it down. What we
Yes.
need is for fisheries management and the politicians to get off their lazy asses and manage a resource that we have. It's a resource. It's
Yeah.
it's not Bambi that they've humanized these sharks. It is a resource and it needs to be managed. No different than bluefin needs to be managed and snappers need to be managed and every other fucking species that's out there. Don't put so many regulations on it that nobody wants to go fishing for that species and you feel like you're saving the sharks
Yeah.
because you want this warm, fuzzy feeling. It's a tree. It's a resource. It's liquid natural gas. It is what it is. Fucking manage it.
Well, you mentioned the 250 fish. That was one of the things that I fought. I was on the ICAT committee, and they were going to put that forward at the Morocco meeting, right? Uh, Mike Nussman from ASA was the recreational rep, and he was supporting it. And I was fighting him tooth and nail. I said, that's an arbitrary number. And I just got done hiring Jim Chambers, who used to work for NIMS, right?
Yeah.
HMS. And we hired Jim, and he did a study. I have a copy of it somewhere. I got to get it to you. I got to send it to you.
Yeah.
And it listed all the long line at the time. This is when the long liners were out of control. But the long line bycatch on billfish in the US was over 2,000 fish a year. That was with a 2% observer. Okay.
Wow.
All right. So I said, all right, you're going to give a number? Give us 2,000 billfish. Not that we'd ever kill that many,
Yeah.
but you can't do an arbitrary number against one sector and do nothing against another sector. You can't do that. And Nussman went ahead and did it, and it was the worst thing that ever happened. It really was. We should have never had that arbitrary number like that. And Weber and I talk about it all the time. They're trying to figure out a way of getting around it. Not that we need to kill more. It's just that we shouldn't be held to a number like that.
Yeah,
It's just
it's and a couple of years ago they miscounted. Ugh. And uh it sent the whole fisheries into an uproar that we
yeah,
went over on billfish and
yeah,
talking about Rick Weber. Him and I had a long
yeah,
conversation about it.
sure.
And really what it showed is how healthy the white marlin population was getting.
It is. It
Because
really is.
the reason there was a lot of long fish that hadn't filled out yet. There was a lot of adolescent fish that they made the 66-inch mark, but they weren't making the 65-pound minimum.
Right.
And so we had this huge influx of white marlin that popped in there. And then once they re-added the numbers, we were below the quota.
Sure.
But it was, man, because once that happens, not only do we have to repay it, there's a lot of minimums that get changed and get pushed up.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of things that kick into effect to protect the fishery.
Sure.
And yeah, I remember. And again, like you said, 250, when people really think of how much fishing is going out there, the fact that we only harvest 250 uh, marlin.
Yeah.
For people that aren't aware, we have 250 marlin that we're allowed to harvest in the North Atlantic by American
Right.
fishermen. So that's blue marlin and white marlin.
Yeah.
So
That's
when
right.
you think of all the tournaments that are on the of America and the East Coast, that all goes into that quota. And if somebody decides to harvest a blue marlin for fun, that goes against the quota as well.
Yes, it does.
So there's a huge industry, and never mind. I wrote a big article about this for Marlin Magazine. People look at all these big giant numbers. Oh, the White Marlin Open pays out 3 million bucks. The Mid-Atlantic pays out 2 million bucks, and it's like, hey guys, that's not the money, man. The money is the boats that are coming into the marina, spending fuel, spending dockage, renting hotels, going to restaurants.
Yeah.
That's the money that our industry is pumping into
That's
the
right.
local economies.
Local
That
economy, trickle
that's
down.
what people don't understand. And one of the best examples that I love to use all the time is the Big Rock. If you've ever been to
Right.
Morehead City's a beautiful, beautiful little quiet town. But when you go up for the Big Rock, holy moly, man, that's like Daytona Bike Week. There's people
Yeah.
everywhere. But not only does that put money into the local economies, they have their charity where that money keeps getting put into the community all year long.
Yeah.
What those people on that board, what Randy Ramsey and all of them are
Yeah.
doing, and I apologize, I don't have everybody's name. Randy is just the biggest name of all of them because he's been doing it for such a long time. What
Randy's the
they've
best.
been doing in Morehead City with that tournament, it is a 12-month of the year, 365 days every year that tournament is doing something in Morehead City. And that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
people need to understand what our fishery
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we should have never went to that 250 because I told Nussman at the time, I said, Mike, we're at a 98% catch and release fishery anyway. Just the people that fish for billfish. There's only not nobody really wants to bring a billfish in for fun anymore,
Yeah.
unless maybe it's some young kid gets one for a mount. But that's the 2% maybe at the most. why did you come up an arbitrary number like that? 250 was very, very risky. I don't like it. I still
Eh,
don't like it. I
we've
know
been we've been very lucky.
yep, Rick is racking his brain out. He talks to John DePersonaire about it too. They're trying to figure out there's got to be another system we can use, but this 250 fish just doesn't make sense at all. It really
I
doesn't.
would like, it's tough because people are so uncooperative to, if you count the number of fish that are caught in a year and give it like 0.5%,
Yeah,
not even a full percent. So, like you said, if there's 2,000 billfish, which we all know there's more than 2,000,
yeah,
uh, 1% would be two, or whatever, 20, and you get about 0.5%, you get 10. So if there's 10,000 billfish, you have 50 fish, or you know what I'm talking about. Half
yes,
a
exactly.
percent goes, it goes a long way. But again, we're already having a hard enough time with people reporting their fucking swordfish reports.
Yeah,
The recreational guys don't, and they don't understand that a lot of the guys, and I'm not picking on anybody. I've spent enough time on the docks. They don't trust fisheries. So they think, listen, if we report our swordfish, then you're going to shut us down. And it's like, no, guys, if you don't report it and we're under quota, they're going to
that's right.
sell our quota to another country.
That's right. That's right.
They're
And
going to
we've been
sell it to another country. You guys, by not reporting, you're hurting yourself more than if we would
yes,
fill the
got to
quota.
report. Right, you got to
You got to
report.
report.
Yep, yep. Because the numbers are make sense because then Ray Bogan, Mike, Nick Cicero, Weber, all our team can go there and argue, hey, this is our numbers. This is why we need this many fish. But if you're not reporting, the other side's going to say, you guys aren't catching anything anyway.
Yeah.
Okay,
Take it away from you.
that's it. That's what they do. And they're hungry for our quota. I mean, Mexico and some of those countries, they would
Everybody's
love to get some of our quota. They love it.
everybody's
They
wants
love
the
it.
quota.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier with the bluefin
Yep.
issue. It has to do with education and transparency.
Yes.
Nobody is out there speaking about this saying, listen, guys, this is what you have to do.
Right.
And this is why,
Yep.
we had an issue a couple of years ago. And I'm sure you're well aware of it. Uh, us in the Bahamas have the EEZ zone. We split it. An EEZ zone is an economic. Oh my God, I can't remember. Anyway, you're allowed 200 miles off your coast where people can't come in and harvest your fish
Right.
unless you're splitting the distance with another country like we do with the Bahamas, and then you
Right.
just split it right down the middle. And
Right.
people are running over to the corner and they were catching yellowfins and dorados and billfish and so on and so forth. And I was at an HMS meeting, and one of the commercial guys said, "Hey, man, it's not fair. These guys are running over." And so next thing you know, the next weekend, Coast Guard's going over there giving out citations. And my argument, I'm like, listen, I'm okay with you guys giving the ticket. I'm not arguing that. But during COVID, we added 47% new boat owners. 47%. Where is our government going out there and educating the public? What are you guys doing? You're okay with taking the money, but how are you spending it to educate the fishermen, educate the boaters? Uh, listen, as a professional, I need to know the law. But buying a boat, you don't even need a fucking license to drive one.
Yeah. No, it's
And
great.
these people, oh, I got my Florida license right here. This is all I need. No, no, you need an HMS. If you want to catch a tuna, you need an HMS license. If you want to catch a sailfish, you need an HMS license. There has to be some kind of effort, some kind of focused effort. Hey, when you buy a boat, here's a list of all the things you're going to need if these are the things you want to do. And nobody does that. Nobody does that. And listen, I get it. You buy a brand new 25 whatever float on the watercraft
Right,
and you want to take your family out and catch a couple of fish. Well,
right.
there's some rules that you need to know. There's state laws, there's federal laws, there could be local laws. So I have a problem if you're giving somebody a ticket, but you haven't spent the time to educate them.
No,
That's where I have a big pro. You know, when you're driving down the road uh, and it's 55, 55, 55, and suddenly they hit you with the 35 and they get you doing 53 and the 35. Listen, there's a sign there. I can't argue it.
yeah,
Yeah, and I've been caught. I've been
yeah.
caught doing that.
Oh,
But I can't argue because the sign was there. But
yeah,
these
yeah.
people don't know. Somebody buys a boat for the first time and they go out and they catch a Dorado, and it just so happens to be quarter of a mile over that EEZ zone, and they're breaking a federal law. That's not, to me, that's not fair. I think we should be putting way more effort into letting these people know all the different rules and regulations and federal and state. And I don't even think people know here off of Florida that within 3 miles of state waters, after that, it's federal waters. How many people really know that information?
Well, you're right. I mean, it's like, look, you can't have a 15-year-old kid go into a car dealership or a truck dealership and buy. He's got to have a license, right?
Correct.
Anybody can buy a boat. Anybody. There's no test. You know what I mean? There's no test. So you've got to buy a truck to have a license. So you have to take a test. You got to
Yeah.
know the rules, right? But anybody can buy a boat. So maybe, you got a good point here, Fly. Maybe the NMMA could get together and, put a federal thing together on the boats they sell and then recommend to their dealers also add your state regulations. I mean, anybody that's buying a center console, generally you're going to be a fisherman. Okay. You're
Yeah.
not buying it to go take your friend out to lunch. You're fishing with it, So, good point.
Exactly. Listen, they have
It's
a
not, it's
safety
not a, it's not a big
regulations.
deal. It's not a big deal to educate them.
They have a card that they give hey, these are the safety regulations you
Yeah.
need. It's not that hard. I just, see, for me, my biggest thing is I want to promote our sport.
Yeah.
And when somebody comes into it, I think it's very important that they have a good experience. Because if
Yeah.
they have a good experience, they're going to do it more often. But
Sure.
if they have a bad experience, whether it be engine failure or bad weather or inadvertently making an infraction on a law, and now they have a bad taste and they're going to say, fuck it. It's not worth it. I don't want to go fishing anymore. I'm going to sell my boat. And guess what? We just lost that person.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose that. I want the more people, the merrier. This is like a giant party. You don't want somebody missing out on your party.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just my personal feeling. I just, we need to do a better job with educating the public on the things that are out there.
Yeah.
You
Well, you see
know?
the other day, somebody in North, the Giants are right on the beach right now. Greg Mayer just told me. They're, so a guy with a little water ski there, or ski doo, whatever you call them
Oh, a
things.
jet ski?
Yeah, jet ski. He caught a giant.
Come on.
Yeah, so everybody's saying, well, wait till Noah comes to your house now and ask you for your permit, right? He put it
Uh,
right on social media, so you know he's going to get a visit by the feds. It's funny.
uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and he
He
didn't,
didn't know. Like you
he didn't
said,
know,
he's
but
out.
yeah.
He's fishing on his jet ski, probably for anything that was going to bite. And he gets a giant tuna,
Did
and
he harvest it?
yeah, he did. He's got a
Oh
picture.
my God. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny. I had Robbie Moore on the podcast a couple months ago, and we were talking about that triple header bluefin tuna that he caught in the Bahamas, and he ended up harvesting one. It was something like 1053 or 1058, And everybody's like, "Hey, man, you better call Noah. You better report that. If you didn't report it, you're going to be in trouble." Like, I don't know. He finally ended up calling them. He goes, "Man, I think I did something wrong. Let me." And they went through everything, and they didn't give him a citation. They didn't do anything, mainly because he was in Bahamian waters. But and I don't know, I can't remember what his boat registry is. There's so many different loopholes. If the boat is not registered in the United States, even if you're an
Yeah.
American fisherman and you're out, I got to deal with these every year with the World Cup because people are
Oh,
fishing
I
in
can imagine.
Madi.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I
Oh,
got
yeah.
I got an American person fishing off the coast of Africa in an Italian flag vessel. Oh my gosh, I'm now a fucking ambassador. I gotta call the UN. It's like I gotta call HMS, I gotta call NOAA, I call IGFA. They put me in touch with somebody in the UN, and it's like, what the fuck, man? When did I become this bridge? I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
complaining. I fucking love it, man. It's like Christmas in July for me, man. You
Oh,
got
yeah.
everybody else celebrates Christmas in December.
Yeah.
July 4th is my fucking Christmas, man.
Oh, yeah.
I,
Well,
I
that chub tournament you're doing is amazing. That's some good stuff.
thank you so much. I have another one coming up. Oh, I
Yeah.
fly out tomorrow. I couldn't even remember what day it is.
That
Uh,
was always one of my favorite places to fish. I love
I
chub.
love
I love it.
chub.
Love it.
I
I love
absolutely love chub.
it.
And listen, the good Lord smiled on me because when they went private, um, I thought I was going to lose it, and they gave
Yeah.
me the exclusive contract to host events there,
Yeah.
and we hosted, and they're very, I hate to, I'm going to use the word quaint. I get a cap of 30 boats. I cannot have any, I'm not allowed to host more than 30 boats
Yeah.
because the clubhouse can only seat so many people. The wait staff can only take care of so many people. And at first, what I thought was a deterrent ended up being a blessing because what it does is it allows me to spend time with every boat owner, every captain, every
Yeah.
crew, every guest. I get to talk to everybody. I walk in, we start serving dinner at 6, and then they do 6:30, 7, 7:30, and 8. I get to walk in at a quarter to 7 so I can have dinner at 7. But I can walk around all the tables, everybody that's eating dinner at 6 and at 6:30.
Sure.
Hey, how's it going? How was fishing today? Did you get everything you need? Did you get your fuel? Did you have any problems clearing customs? I literally get to host people.
Yeah.
I mean, which really a tournament director makes a lot of decisions, but what you're doing is you're hosting somebody at an event.
Sure.
And when you have a huge event, it's hard. It's hard to talk to everybody because
Yeah.
everybody wants to talk to you and let you know. And I want to know, listen, if you had a problem, did you have a problem with clearing? Did you have a problem with your dinner? Did you have a problem with, let me know because I want to make sure I report it back to the general manager so he knows. And yeah, we've been having such a good time. And then Michelle, who does all the tournaments with me, she came up with an idea a couple years back. Hey, why don't we come in on Wednesday every time? And I do that because of weather. Nothing starts until Thursday, but I
Yeah.
always do it on Wednesday because God forbid if I waited till Thursday and the weather's shitty and I can't get out. So she's like, why don't we do a dock party? So we started the dock party last year, and it has been, not only has it been a success, I've had so many people come up to me and say, Fly, we have camaraderie again. We get to talk to people. We get to hang out with our buddies. Um, we I've had about a half a dozen owners come up to me. They say, you know what? Most of these people, I've seen their boats for 10 or 12 years. I don't know who owns them. But now because of these little dock parties, I get to, oh, you're the owner of this boat. Hey, I'm so and so. And you get to meet other owners.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, so I'm a big fan of it and I'm wait by the time this comes out, this is going to be long gone, but I'm waiting for a shipment. I ordered a bushel of blue crabs and they're coming today. And I'm going to give them a shout out and I'm trying to get them on the podcast next week. There's a little crab place in Baltimore called Jimmy's Famous Seafood. Have you heard of it?
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so Jimmy's Famous Seafood has become quite popular in the last few months because when the men and women's hockey team won the gold medal, they said all gold medal winners from the hockey teams get free crabs for life. And I'm like, man, how fucking cool is this?
Yeah.
Then there was a what's that called? There was a periodical, and I'm not throwing any names because I don't want to give anybody any credit, that said something derogatory about the United States. And Jimmy's Famous Seafood grabbed that uh, Twitter or X post, reshared it, and quoted, "Go fuck yourself." And I'm like, oh, I like these people. And I followed them. And I thought to myself, you know what I'm going to do? For the members only tournament, I'm going to order a bushel of crabs. And I did. And ironically, the owner and the place started following me on Instagram. And then I asked him, they said, hey, listen, our owner's going to reach out to you. And he did. And I said, listen, man, I really appreciate it. He goes, man, I'm going to send you some shirts and some swag. And I said, I'd really like to get you on my podcast because sea, eating seafood is part of the fishing industry.
Oh yeah.
And I really want I want to say thank you to them, but I really also want to say I want people to know where their seafood comes from because listen, there's men and women out there harvesting that seafood. There are real people that are out there catching these fish,
Oh, yeah.
and it's important to me. That crab that's sitting on your plate didn't just show up, just like that steak didn't just show up on my, on my plates. There was somebody involved, and I want to give those people credit. So yeah, I'm waiting patiently or impatiently for my fucking bushel of
Good
crabs.
good for you. Good for you. That's great. Good stuff.
Yeah,
Hey, hey,
and
hey, so one of the other things I wanted to talk about, a lot of the recreational guys, not just billfish, they mix it up. We know that. We
yeah.
know guys that have Vikings that go flounder fishing and sea bass
Oh,
fishing. They all
absolutely.
do it, right? So your Magnuson really has a big impact on what our regulations are going to be, right?
Explain for the people that aren't familiar with Magnuson, explain what the whole Magnuson Act is.
Okay, well, Magnuson was put in 1976. That was to create the exclusive economic zone. Because prior to that, um, we had we had Eastern Bloc nations. We had the Russians here. We used to see the on their smokestacks when I was working at decks. You'd see the hammer and sickle. We had Polish vessels. We had Spanish, all within our waters, right outside 3 miles. So from 3 miles out, they were all over the place, and they were sucking up everything, everything. They had giant trawls. So we put the Magnuson was put in that created the 200-mile limit. Which helped, the fisheries to rebound. And under Magnuson, they created the 8 fishery management councils, the New England, Mid-Atlantic, South Atlantic, Gulf, Pacific, North Pacific, Western
Hawaiian,
Pacific.
all of them, yeah.
Yeah, all councils. So now they set up the management schemes with that. And so during the first reauthorization was around, I guess around 95, 96, the first reauthorization. That's when the environmentals started to get involved and they wanted to hammer us back on overfishing. And the overfishing was really occurring really with the commercial industry. A lot of it was overcapitalized, so to speak. So it wasn't your mom and pop commercial fishermen who I have a lot of respect for, families that have been third generation, fishermen. This was a lot of lawyers, doctors, and investors, bankers who bought boats because they saw the gold rush. They saw swimming gold in 200 miles. It's ours now, and we're going to get it. And they were actually fishing it down, and then some of them were even burning the boats. There was arson involved, all kinds of stuff, getting
Oh,
insurance.
wow.
A lot of that. This all went on. This all went on. So that was the beginning of starting to get reined in a little bit tight on our sector. And then it got worse in 2005. That reauthorization was the worst one. Senator Ted Stevens was the lead senator from Alaska, and he got convinced by the environmental community to put ACLs in, annual catch limits on the recreational sector. And they are designed for the commercial sector only, not us. It's actually counterintuitive. It works against us. And so I went up to him. It was during the seafood week down at NOAA, right? And
Okay.
he was there. He was there, and I walked up to him and I said, Senator, how you doing? I want to talk to you. We got to get the ACLs out of this bill you got here. And he said, Jim, don't you want to be accountable? I said, Senator, we are accountable. We've got size limits and bag limits and all that. That's enough. We don't need to have an annual catch limit. It butts up against at the time it was the MRF data, which is now MRIP.
Okay.
It butts up against that, and it actually causes us to have almost a fake overfishing, and it doesn't work. And it reins us back very hard. For instance, sea bass stocks are the highest they've ever been in the history, right? So let's say the level sustainable is like this, it's way up above that, and yet we have a restricted fishery because
Wow.
of the ACLs butting up against the MRIP data. Okay. And so I thought that this year was going to be the year, talking to certain people. Why don't we get together with the commercial guys and get a nice Magnuson bill that works for them and us, where we have sustainable fisheries, long term for both sectors, and we maintain, conservation goals at the same time, but allowing for better access, right? And I'm saying, okay, this should work. We got a Republican president, we got a Republican majority in the House and the Senate, and now this damn war breaks out, and I don't know what's going to happen now with a chance of getting Magnuson even amended,
Wow.
um,
Ma-
because we're going to have midterms, and we don't know now what the midterms are going to look like, and if we lose the majority in one of the houses, we're done. We're never going to get a Magnuson fix again. So this would have been the year. Ray Bogan and I have been talking about this would have been the year, talking to John about it. This would have been the year to really get a Magnuson bill put forward, make some nice friendly amendments in there that still allow for conservation and rebuilding.
Yeah.
We don't want to overfish, but fix the problem we have with the MRIP data and the ACL issue. Get that out of there. But now I'm very concerned that we're going to have problems. So that's what the recreationals are facing right now.
Yeah, it's a constant battle.
Oh, it's
It's a
horrible. It's
it's a
horrible.
constant battle. But you know what though? It's kind of like dealing with weather when you're a fisherman. You're always dealing with weather.
Yes.
It
Yes.
doesn't matter. The only way to prevent ever dealing with weather is quitting fishing. And that sure as fuck isn't going to happen to me, man. I want to
Excellent.
keep I want to
Yeah,
keep going,
I
So
agree. I
I
agree.
the way I see it, and going back to what I said earlier, this is my way of giving back. I want to make sure everybody's taken care of.
Yeah.
Making sure as a rec guy, I'm out there fighting for the rec guys.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand, a lot of the commercial guys, they're just fighting for their quota, but they're just regular working people like you and I.
They
They
sure are.
and listen, they got to protect what's theirs, and I get it.
Yep.
You got
Yep.
to kind of butt up against them a little bit, and right now, listen, for me, it seems like I'm getting along so much. I don't even want to say better, but the rec guys and the commercial guys have been brought more together because we're fighting these environmentals.
Absolutely.
The
You're right.
environmentals, they just and I have and anybody who's listening who hasn't listened to me before, I put a defining line between a conservationist and an environmentalist. I
Absolutely.
I am a conservationist. I want to use a resource. I want to conserve it so the next generation has the same
That's
resource.
right.
But a
That's right.
lot of environmentalists they don't want anybody using the resource.
No, they're preservationists, Fly. They're preservationists, and that's the problem. That's what happened to NOAA fisheries, and this is what Hanyo's up against as the AA. There's people within NOAA that years ago, for instance, like John DePersonaire, right? So
Yep.
John, brilliant, brilliant guy, right? John, when he studied marine science, guys like him and gals like him in the old days, when you studied marine science, you studied it as a conservationist, which is the wise use of harvestable, sustainable fisheries, right? You have a new breed now that go to college. I see them right here when they go to the school right down the street from me here, at Stockton. They're environmentalists. They're extremists. They're going there they're learning to become preservationists. They don't want any harvest. Nobody. They
Mm.
don't want any harvest. And you can't have that. You can't have that with any animal.
With
Any animal, you
no,
know?
you just can't.
I mean, look at deer populations, everything. You got to harvest them, otherwise, they're going to be running into cars every
They
night.
they run into cars, they do damage, and then they spread diseases if you don't
That's it.
manage them.
Yes.
That's what people don't understand.
Yeah. It's
It's if we weren't around to manage them,
yep,
at a certain point, they get some kind of disease, some
yep,
kind of pandemic, and then they slowly die
yep,
a horrible death,
yep,
or we could just harvest them and eat them. I mean,
yep,
my freezer right now, I have deer and elk and moose, and
yeah.
I eat it. I
Oh yeah, I
I
agree.
know that food doesn't naturally come on a styrofoam tray. That's that's not natural.
Yeah,
I listen. I buy it. We all buy it at the grocery store.
sure.
But at some point, that was an animal, and somebody had to harvest it and
Yeah,
cut it up. Well, I like to do my own when I can.
sure.
I like to be outside. I like to harvest my own food, just like I like to go out and harvest my own fish,
Sure.
uh, or at least my regular fish, the shellfish. I just texted a guy this morning. He's a scalloper up in Maine. I'm like, "How's the season started?" I know it started April 1st, and he's like, "Fuel's too expensive. I'm waiting," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't
That's what's
blame you."
happening. That's it. I talked to three commercial operations last week, and they're staying tied to the dock because the price of fish hasn't changed for them.
No.
But diesel's close to $6 a gallon now, Fly. They can't do it. They
No,
can't
that's
do
exactly
it.
what he said. He says we're over $6.
Yeah,
And I
not
said,
good.
listen, I get it. Listen, I was just looking of jumping on a plane and going up and buying 50 pounds and
Yeah,
putting it in my freezer.
yeah.
When I talked to him a few months ago, he's like, man, shipping's gonna kill you. I go, shipping? I go, I'm gonna buy a round trip ticket. I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna have a nice meal. I'm gonna go to your dock. I'm gonna buy 50 pounds and I'm gonna put it into my little low boy and I'm gonna ship it home. It's gonna be part of my luggage, man. No way.
That's
I'm
it.
not gonna trust FedEx. I don't know
That's
why
it.
I trust the airlines, but I'm not. That's what again, it's fresh food and I get to support a local fisherman.
But I'm with you. The commercial sector, for the most part, I'd say they're just like us. Okay, they're trying to
Yeah.
make a living. They got a quota. We're better off working with them together, okay, and getting things done for us. The problem we still have a problem. CCA's out there, they're so anti-commercial, and you know, and even I don't know what the ASA is like today without Nussman. I hear they're a little better, but in the NMMA, I don't see them doing much. But if those groups got together, all of us work together with the commercial sector together against the enviros, we win. We get something done for us. But we're not gonna. We got
That,
all different sectors again pulling on a member of the House or a member of the Senate and telling them a different story. So what happens with that story? It stays dead. Nothing moves.
yeah,
It
nothing.
dies.
It's
It
easier to
dies.
leave it alone.
Oh, I remember the last time we testified in front of the Senate. John and I wrote the testimony in the office, and I got in front of Senator Sullivan from Alaska, who was chairing the committee. We had a I mean, everybody called us up and said, boy, that was great testimony. It was right on the money, right on the money. And then we had a guy from CCA, a guy from the Guides Association. Everybody had a different opinion. And when Sullivan got all those different opinions, guess what he did with the bill? Nothing. It didn't
Left
move.
it. Die
Didn't
on the
move.
vine.
And he could have moved it. He could have moved, but he didn't move it because people were going to his office and telling him a different story. So now they just did nothing. It's safer to do nothing if you're a senator than do something that might be controversial with two other groups. That's why. Because the number one thing The number one thing about an elected official is they want to get elected again. That's it. That's the number one thing. And they don't care what they have to do that. They'll sell their soul if they have to. And that's the stuff I learned, what I read when I studied. Number one priority for a member of Congress in the House or the Senate is to get reelected. And that doesn't mean, that doesn't mean they're going to get reelected for integrity or honor. They're going to get reelected.
Yeah, it's a shame because it was
Yeah.
never intended to become a professional politician.
Well, we just talked about that today. A friend of mine, we were talking about when the founding fathers had the debates, right? I mean, I have all the books. I mean, I studied American history. Um, when they sat down and they talked about it, and they were brilliant. They had a vision into people, personalities, Jefferson, all them. But there were some things they didn't know what was going to happen because of how we are. But they talked about the term limit thing came up, and they never figured they would need it, right? Because they didn't know we were going to have career politicians. What they assumed, a guy like Robert Navarro is a fisherman, okay? So when he's going to go run for Congress, he's going to do something to improve something for his industry and then go back to home. Okay. All right. Jim Donafrio is a farmer. Okay. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to go and do something for farming and then leave and go back farming. Right. And a guy from some industry is going to do something. He's going to go back. They talked about this. But, but what happened was they created what I call legal organized crime. And that's what they have. That's what it is. They
Oh,
inside trade, right? They inside trade. They get kickbacks from NGO money and all that other stuff they created. We saw it all. It was all exposed. It's they talk about the mafia. The mafia would be better running the country than these guys because they have a lot more honor. They really do. I mean,
yeah.
they're bad. This is legal organized crime what we have down there right now. It's
It's
horrible. Horrible.
it's definitely crazy.
Oh
It's
yeah. Yeah.
and it doesn't really matter which industry you're in,
Yeah.
whether it's fishing or building or whatever. You got to deal with it. It's the
Yeah.
politicians that you're dealing with.
Yes. Yep.
It's nonstop.
Yep.
It's absolutely crazy.
Yep.
Now, I do have on a side note, I see the picture in the back, and for people that don't know, you're a big time duck hunter.
Oh yeah.
You are a fucking big time duck hunter.
I
Can you
am.
can
I
you
live
tell
for it.
can
I
you
live
tell
for
us
it.
a couple of stories
Well, I
before we
got,
run out of time? Because
sure.
listen, again, it goes back to providing food for your table.
Yeah, yeah,
All fishermen are hunters and hunters are fishermen. It's
yeah.
just where you decide to hunt.
Yeah, it's
So,
waterfowl. Waterfowl's my thing, and I start in October every year. I go up to North Dakota for a month, and we hunt up there in the fields up there, and
yeah,
it's just the most amazing sight you'd ever see. The migrations of mallards, pintails, other birds, cranes, sandhill cranes, speckled-bellied geese. We shoot a lot of them, and
really,
yeah, and then I come back down here and I got a beautiful duck boat. I got a duck invader, and it's grassed up real nice. And then we hunt the bays and the estuaries here for puddle ducks, and it's just it's amazing. My yellow lab that's laying down over there was talking to me before. She's
he's probably ready to go duck hunting himself,
yeah
man.
she is. I've had all good dogs. I make sure I get good bred dogs. I mean, real top notch dogs, and this one here. I've never had one as good as her. They've all been good, but she's insanely good, especially on cripples. If the bird starts to get away and goes underwater, she'll go underwater and get it and bring it back. I mean,
Really?
yeah, she's amazing. Yeah, she's
What
good.
what got you into duck hunting?
What's that?
What got you into duck hunting?
Well, I hunted all my life as a kid. My father got me into it.
Okay.
Typical World War II veteran got me into guns and took me down the basement when I was 5 years old and said, "Let me see what if you're a left eye or right eye." I go, "Dad, what are you talking about? You want to see which eye you are, dominant, right?" So he did that, and he bought me a pellet gun, and then he started taking me with him to teach me firearm safety. I'd carry a stick actually, like not a gun. He made sure that muzzle was never pointed at him, the friend he hunted with, or his dog. He watched my safety, and then So at 13, I got my license, and I used to go to my uncle's farm and hunt alone up there. And then at 18, a friend of mine, Eddie Monte, who passed away, he said, "Man, you ought to get into duck hunting. I think you'll like it." I said, "Really?" So he took me duck hunting once, one day, and I was hooked. That
You
was
were
it.
done.
That was it. That was it. He had a Labrador Retriever, and we shot birds. I watched a dog retrieve, and I said, "Man, this is me. That's my life." And I started doing it. And
Yeah,
I
that's
had
awesome.
Sammy. I had at 19 years old. I had Sammy Hunt, a legendary boat builder down here, build me my first sneak box, and I started with that, and just never ended. It's just unbelievable. I live for
No, I listen, we're connected on Facebook, so I get to see all your pictures as you post them. And I'm
it.
like, I need to make sure I don't forget to talk to Jimmy about his
Yeah.
duck hunting. And you have
Oh,
that beautiful picture behind you of your black lab. So
yeah.
it
Yeah,
was it was a
that was
constant
Pearl.
reminder.
That was Pearl. And Savio Mizzi, the artist,
Yeah,
he did that for me.
really.
When Pearl died, he did that for me for free. He caught me, and he's such a great guy.
Oh,
He knew it broke my heart when Pearl died, and that's her with a canvas back, and you see that sailfish back there.
yes, sir.
Me and Scotty Mance caught that off a
Sweet
tour.
cheeks.
Yeah, Sweet Cheeks was my mate on LeVar's boat. I was
Oh my,
LeVar's first captain.
oh my God.
I was Jim LeVar's first captain. And
Scotty is
Scotty, I
such a
hired
nice
Scotty.
guy.
Oh yeah, Sweet Cheeks. We caught that little sailfish, and it was. I said, "Man, I got to mount that. That's the cutest little sailfish." So I had it mounted.
Oh, that
That
is so
New
awesome.
Wave did it. New
New
Wave
Wave
did it.
and Stewart.
Yeah,
Okay.
amazing painter, both him and his wife. I mean,
Unbelievable. They do a great
I've never,
job.
I've never seen anybody paint like them. I mean, I know Davalier's guys. They're really good, but when it came to that hand painting like he did, whew, my God. I mean,
It's all in the painting.
yeah, it's just
It,
amazing.
I remember when they painted this one up at over at Gray's.
Yeah,
I called Bill up and I'm like, hey, I want a mount. And he's
yeah,
like, what? Well, what size is your fish? I go, no. I don't have a fish. I want to decorate. I go,
yeah,
I'm looking for something like whatever, 91 inches. And he's like, oh man, I
yeah,
got a 90. Do you want it going left or right? And I'm like, it don't matter. He goes, I got this
yeah, yeah,
beautiful one. I'm like, listen, I'll be back home from St. Thomas in about 4 weeks.
yeah,
Whenever it's done, just let me know. But I want to be there when they paint it.
yeah,
And okay. So sure enough, he's like, "Hey, right now you're scheduled for painting tomorrow. Do you have time?" I'm like, "Oh, I'll make time." And I went in there and they just had this new paint. It was called Pearl. And it was clear, but it had that
yeah, yeah,
shimmering
yeah.
look to it. So I don't have the best lighting in here, but if you shine lighting, depending on what angle, it literally changes color, just like a fish does in the water.
Oh yeah.
And that's oh my, I absolutely loved it. I was like, oh my God, if I could put pearl on everything, I'd fleckle pearl on me if it would help.
Yeah. They're beautiful animals. They really are. I remember even like I'm talking like in the days when we were to fish the mud hole, and we get a giant in the boat, and you're looking at the colors, and you're saying, you know what? There's only one person that could create that color, and that's God. I mean,
100%.
there's no. I mean, an artist can do a good job, but what a beautiful, magnificent creature that the Lord has gave us. And I thank Him every day for everything. I do.
Listen,
I'm still as crazy as I was. I still curse,
uh,
okay, but you know what?
it's funny you say that. And
Yeah,
again, I called a fellow fisherman,
yeah,
and you probably know him. I don't want to mention names.
yeah,
And I said the word fuck, and he's like, uh, Fly, I found God, and I try not to curse. I'm like, hey man, better
that's
on you. I
good.
says,
Yeah,
I I talk to God every day, but unfortunately, God knows I curse.
yeah,
It's just me. And he's gonna, I love him and I respect him and I talk to him every day.
yeah. I do too.
My girlfriend and I, we've been together almost 11 years, and every night when we're together, we do what we like to call gratefulness at dinner. People like to bless their food, but that's the time that I like to, and I try to do it at night before I'm falling asleep or when I wake
Yeah.
up. But every night at dinner, I like for us to take just a moment and say all the things that we're grateful for.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because listen, we've all been very, very blessed. First of all, the fact that we're alive, we were one out of how many billions that had to run up that fallopian tube. We made
Oh,
it. We're
yeah.
that. First of all, we're lucky for that. And I was talking
Yeah.
to somebody yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, they were talking about the war, and they said something. And I go, listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. I says, but tonight when you take a shower, think about how lucky you are you have hot water.
Yeah.
Think
No,
about that. Think about the fact that you have air conditioning tonight. We don't have to deal with the bugs.
I agree.
I go, 100 years ago, you had a 50% chance of losing your child, and all your children lived. So be thankful for what we have. I mean, truthfully, be thankful for what you have. Even the hard stuff. I'm thankful for the hard stuff. I look back and think something recently happened to me, and I just in comparison, it was a 12-year step. And I say step, it was a 12-year bubble, let's say it. And when this thing first happened to me, it was horrible. Broke my heart. It hurt me. But I didn't take it as something bad. I took it as a learning experience. And when it came back around 12 years later, I realized, oh my God, what I thought was a blessing was so much bigger of a blessing that I never, never, never imagined. It
Yeah.
was so much bigger of a
Yep.
of a blessing. So be
Yep.
very thankful for it, because even the bad stuff that happens is something that we learn from, or
No
something that
coincidence. Right.
happens.
No
Yeah.
coincidence.
And
Yeah.
I'm very, very big on that.
Yeah.
And people that listen to the podcast, and I don't know how often you listen to, one thing I really like to talk about is there's a verse in the Bible that says when we get to a certain level, it's our responsibility to reach back and help those behind us. And I think of how
Yes.
many people that have helped me over the years,
Yes.
sometimes as simple as just making a phone call. Hey, I got this young man. His name's Robert Navarro. He wants to work on a
Yeah.
boat. Just give him an opportunity to talk to you. And if you can get it, give him a job, give him a job. And now, 34 years later, here I am, and I get to talk about fishing every day.
No, it's great. And I go to mass every morning now, I
Oh, do
try
you
to
really?
I try to go. Yeah, if I'm not doing so, I'll go every morning, receive communion. I'm very thankful. But I'll tell you, when I was in a hospital, I guess it was about 10 years ago, an intestine was bursting from a procedure that went wrong with another doctor, right? And
Yeah.
I was in so much pain, and there was a guy laying next to me, and the nurse said to me, she goes, "You're in so much pain, you don't say anything." I said, "I think about the man on the cross, and if I can't suck this pain up," I said, "shame on me." She goes, "Wow," just like that.
Wow, I
I
never
mean,
thought of that.
you know, I
Never.
just, yeah. I mean, what he did you see Gibson's Passion? Did you see the movie The Passion?
No, I didn't.
You should look at it. I
Okay.
mean, it actually shows what Christ went through before they even put him on the cross. The beating, the whipping, everything they did to him. They were spitting on him, and you know, and he was a human. He was a human. He felt everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, and he died as a human and came back 3 days later. The resurrection. I mean, that story right there is like there's a book called The Case for Christ by Sobel. Everyone should read it because I want all my friends to go to heaven. I want to see everybody again. I believe in that gift of eternal life.
I'm writing that
I
down.
mean, it's a real gift. Yeah, it's called The Case for Christ.
I
And
I don't I'm assuming you've seen the pictures. I spend a lot of time in the Middle East,
yeah,
and I have a lot of great Muslim friends, and I have one in
sure.
particular. The rule of you should never talk politics and religion with people.
Yeah.
I have one particular friend. I'm going to see him in Costa Rica in a couple of weeks. All we talk about is politics and religion. That's all we talk about. I say we talk about family and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah,
him and I we purposely like hold questions.
yeah,
Uh, hey, what about this? What about that? And we have some of the most in-depth conversations. And
yeah.
one of the things that I love discussing with people in general is the fact that when I go over there and what people don't understand is how similar uh, Christianity and Islam is. And the best way for me to describe it is we're all part of the same tree. You're just on a different branch. You have a couple of different beliefs. It's like people that are dead bait fishermen and some people are live bait fishermen. You still want to go out and catch the fish and you want to see God. You have a different route to go. And it's not my position to try to, my beliefs are my beliefs.
Mhm.
And if I get the opportunity to talk to some of my friends that might believe something differently,
Mhm.
I want to understand it. Doesn't mean you're trying to change the way I think or vice versa. I just want to understand because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're all children of God.
That's
We,
it.
we, we really are. And it's really, it's so funny. You use the word or you used it in describing a bluefin. I think about it. I have a little flats boat, and one of my favorite things is going up as the sun's coming up, going out Jupiter Inlet. And when you see that sun just peeking out over and you get a little bit of salt spray, and you're like, oh, wow, yeah, this is not, God had to do this. God had to do this. This is special. To
Oh,
put
yeah.
all of this together, it's something very special. And it's for me, fishing has been able to put me in touch with so many different people. Now, and listen, it doesn't matter if you're Japanese or if you're
Yeah.
Muslim or if you're whatever. I've been on boats where I'm the only dumb idiot that speaks English. And but we all know fishing. We all know fishing, and it's that love and passion for being out on the ocean that I can share with people. It don't matter where you come from.
Yeah.
It don't matter. Listen, if you want to be on that water, I want to be with you. I want to spend the time with you and get to know you. And uh, my only issue is I don't like being told what to do. So if you have a belief and you want to share with me why, I love it because you know what? That gives me a different vantage point. I just don't want you to tell me that I'm doing it wrong.
I
That's
agree.
that's my only thing. Don't
No,
tell
I
me I'm
agree.
doing it wrong. You do it your way, I do it my way. Let's come together, go fishing, break bread together, have a good time.
Yeah.
Uh, that maybe taking these words is really we should think about that when as we move forward with a lot of these commercial fishermen, we're all believing the same thing.
Sure.
And the part that makes me upset is the preservationist. I love that word, where they don't want you to touch it, and it's like, no, no, this
That's
is what
right.
we've been provided with. I want to use it respectfully, and make sure I leave enough for the next generation.
Right.
I'm a firm believer if you get people to fall in love with the resource, fall in love with fishing or duck hunting or deer hunting, or whatever it is that you fall in love with, you want to preserve that. You want to conserve that for the next generation. You want to pass it on to your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids, or your nieces and your nephews. And it's important for me, it's important to if you're going to take from the resource, give back to it. That's all. In whatever way, shape, or form. If it's a matter of going to fisheries or it's donating some money to a conservation group or teaching somebody how to go fishing properly,
Mhm.
hey, if you're not going to eat it, how do you handle that fish so it can go back and continue living? And I think that's important. However you see fit. It's not for me to tell you how you got to do it. And maybe it's just I'm going to take my grandkids fishing.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good. You're continuing my sport, our sport, and that's to me that's important.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You're back on HMS, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you guys going to really make a push, hopefully now with Hanyo there, to up the harvest of the sharks, the coastwide sharks? Because
So,
as you know, you can't even get a tuna to the boat in some of those
so,
areas.
so when we get off the podcast, I'm going to share my shark podcast with you. I
Yeah.
want you to listen to it because I would love some advice from you.
Okay.
Um, so the gentleman I had on board or on the podcast who asked me to put it together, he's part of the SBA advocacy group,
Right.
the Small Business Administration. He was appointed by Trump. And I say Trump, his team.
Yeah.
And part of that, him being appointed, was to find 3 to 5 laws that they could adjust or repeal, if possible, to help bring back the commercial industry in some way, shape, or form. One of them was uh, possibly repealing the Shark Fin Ban Act. Me personally, when he brought me on the phone, he asked me, what's your goal? Him and I, we were on a different call together, and I made a mention that I knew that there was a law that had been, or a bill that had been
Yeah.
passed by a senator. He's like, "Where'd you hear that?" And I'm like, "Well, this is a problem I've been fighting for a long time. Can I talk to you offline?" So we had a conversation,
Yeah.
and he's like, "What's your goal on this?" I says, "Honestly, my goal is to get dragged in front of the Senate and fight for this Shark Fin Ban Act.
Yeah.
This is what I want. I don't. I think it was hijacked by the fact that it was just stuck into the defense budget back in 21. It
Oh
was,
boy.
it was hijacked, and special interests pushed it along, and it literally kneecapped the commercial industry. And I've had arguments at HMS where they say, "Well, Fly, we want to give them more quota, but they're not even catching what's being offered to them." And my argument was, "Well, you took away the most valuable part of the shark. If the quota, if you guys are saying this amount of fish could be harvested and still protect the stock, why are you taking away the most valuable part of the fish?"
Exactly. Yeah.
So, the other part that we talked about, and again, it's in that podcast, was the Shark Fin Ban Act, if you repeal it, would be the fastest way to create a market for these sharks. The second way to create a market for these sharks that is more strenuous and expensive is creating a market where people will eat the shark meat.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I'm
Yeah. Can I
waiting for, hold
can
on
I
one
step
second.
away for a
Hold
second?
on. What's that?
Can I step away for 1 second?
Yeah, let me pause, and
One
I'm going to
second. Yeah.
use, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just going to pause it.
Okay.
And we're back.
All right. Good.
So we were in the middle of, so the other way to increase the market is letting people know you can actually eat shark meat. And so I am waiting for an introduction to HHS, which is Health and Human Services, to
Right.
talk about getting shark on the menu for people that are hungry.
Sure.
Here's the issue again with the environmentalists is the fact that they'll put out there, "Oh, there's mercury in the sharks, you can't eat them, it's unhealthy for
Oh,
you." It's no different than eating tuna or swordfish. It's no different. As long as it's taken care of properly, just like any other fish, if you take care of it properly.
well, there's
uh
so much mercury. I mean, tilefish is one of the highest in mercury. Tilefish.
yeah, again, the problem is that they've humanized these animals.
Yeah.
And now
You're right.
people, oh, listen, I'm sure, I think I said it on here, but because I say it so often, when I was at that
Yeah.
HMS meeting and they were showing the artwork done by second graders of sharks, I'm like, that's the fucking problem.
Oh,
You
you and
guys
I are
have
on the same page.
humanized these animals.
We're on
And
the same page.
listen, don't get me, you know what got me into fishing? What made me fall in love was the movie fucking Jaws. Jaws made me fall in love. I love sharks. I absolutely love them. But I also understand It's a
Well,
resource.
well, you see these people giving white sharks names, oh, they're cute and all that. And I get so upset when they say they're cute. I said, throw your kid into one, see how cute they are. Because see, I remember my West Coast director, Randy Fry, was bit in half by one,
Oh
18
wow.
footer. Yeah, he was in 10 feet of water diving for I guess the those abalones that they get down there in the
Oh,
West
okay, yeah,
Coast.
over in
Yeah.
California.
Yep. And this 18 footer just bit him right in half from the shoulders up, killed him instantly. And so when I hear that a great white is cute, they're killers. They're killers. I
Well,
respect them. I like what Keith Poe's doing out there. Keith's amazing what he's doing. But those things are killers. They're not cute. Okay?
yeah.
Not cute.
Listen, I guess I have a less problem with them naming the white sharks than them. If you've ever spent any time, and man, I have gone after them three ways till Sunday, where they have these sharks. These sharks have their own Instagram pages. Joy the tiger shark. And I'm like, you guys do realize these are highly migratory species, but because of the fact that you're feeding them every fucking day, they're
Yeah.
no longer migrating.
Right.
You are literally feeding the seagulls. And now they don't leave and they stay on this one reef. Oh, no, no, no. We're just saving the pictures. My ass, you're saving the pictures. You guys are diving three times a day, charging everybody $60, and you're taking whatever the price is, and you're
Yeah.
taking 100 people out every day. Fuck. They're not going to leave. And this is where I get frustrated with my recreational guys. They're like, oh, the problem is they're feeding sharks. I go, no, that's not the fucking problem. That is just one of the symptoms of the overall problem. It's just a symptom. There's enough sharks, let's feed them, they'll stay around. But this is an East Coast, this is a North Atlantic problem. It's in the Keys, it's in the Caribbean, it's in the Bahamas,
Yes.
it's in the
Yeah.
Gulf, it's fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
And um, it's not just the people that are feeding the sharks right here off of Palm Beach County.
No.
It's a North Atlantic problem,
Hmm.
but it's so easy. Oh my gosh. And it goes back to what you said. If you get people arguing about one thing, they don't pay attention to the bigger problem, which you're feeding the shark. No, that's not the fucking problem. Get off your ass. You know, the
Yeah.
problem, call your senator, complain.
Yeah.
Listen, call 10 people, tell those 10 people to call 10 people and continue it up the line and keep calling the senators. Hey man, you need to call Senator so and so and say, when the fuck are you going to do something about these sharks? And I'm not saying that I want them to wipe them out. All I'm saying is responsibly manage them.
No doubt.
Responsibly manage them.
Look at the bull sharks. The bull sharks are so dangerous, so dangerous.
Listen, they're the most dangerous of all of them.
They are. And you know, I won't shred anymore for clams.
Oh,
I,
really?
no, I only scratch rake now because we got so many bull sharks coming in our bay here. I'm not going
Wow.
to take a chance getting bit by one and bleed out before I get to my boat. You know what I mean? No way.
I
No
never even
way.
thought of
Oh, yeah, they're
that.
bad. They're bad.
More people die of bull sharks than any other sharks.
That's right. And they don't kill you like a great white will bite you in
And
half.
you're done. Yeah, no.
This
You're
thing will
gonna,
bite you. By the time somebody or yourself gets a tourniquet on, you're done. You
you're
know,
done.
you bleed out.
Yeah.
They're
It's,
bad.
and what people don't understand, the reason why there's so many attacks by bull sharks is they can swim up into fresh water.
Yes, they do. They're
So
dangerous.
as people are bathing in rivers, they get bitten by a bull shark.
Oh yeah. Oh, they're cute. Remember, you got to give them a good name. Give them a girl's name. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's Lily the bull shark.
Oh
She's
my
cute.
gosh. Again, I have no problem if you fall in love with an animal. I have zero
Yeah.
problems with it.
Yeah.
But you also got to understand, it's just like people who have deer behind their house and they feed their deer.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, that's okay. You feed your deer, but you got to understand that deer could have ticks on it. It's going to give you Lyme disease.
Yeah.
Just understand that this is not. a house cat. It's not a house dog. It's a wild animal.
Sure is.
Just understand it. That's all. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. And uh, sometimes in life,
Yeah.
animals lose their lives, whether it be to human interaction or other animal interact. Listen, more sharks get eaten by other sharks than anything else.
Yeah.
That's just Mother Nature, man.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So
What do
yeah,
you
it's
think? What do you think
so
the chances are, though, Fly? What do you think the chances are of you guys getting together on a committee, speaking to all the other members and making a
I
reason?
don't see this being addressed by HMS.
No,
This is going to be outside,
really,
100%.
really.
100%. And I'm happy to talk with you offline with some of the things I've got going on.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think it's a constant pressure that you got to put on the council,
yeah.
and and then you have to attack because remember, it's somebody from higher up that's going to pull the purse
Oh,
strings.
yeah,
So you need to know where the pressure's coming from up front, and then you're going to have to flank them and just.
yeah,
Um, and again, I've talked to the guy at SBA. I'm like, listen, one thing that my business is good at is bringing people together. That's what I do.
yeah,
That's that's what I do, and I try to do it at scale. Th this podcast is connecting people. That's all it is.
yeah,
So whatever the message is, it's connect people. And if other people are feeling this problem, let's come together.
yeah,
Uh, and I don't see it being a council issue. I see this. It's going to come from the outside, which again. Um, I I send out a lot of emails, and I've had a lot of really great companies that they can't put their name on it, and I get it uh, because they have people that buy their products, and when the environmentals come at you, they come at you hard, man.
we
They'll
do.
go on your Google review and they'll give you 3,000 bad reviews and never go to your restaurant. They'll
No,
give you
they're
3,000 bad reviews and never bought your product. But you don't
yeah,
know
they're
that.
vicious. They're
They're
vicious.
vicious. And luckily for me, uh, all my businesses, now mind you, I have a lot of businesses that have gone out from fishing, but at some way, shape, or form, fishing is a background of it. And I'm a firm believer that this is a fraternity. We all stick together. And all I ever ask anybody is just watch my six. I don't mind taking the arrows. I don't mind being called all kinds of things. I was, oh, you're going to laugh at this one. I was being interviewed by a news station during that shark tournament. And the lady from whatever channel it was asking me questions. The guy's there on his camera. And somebody drives by in a car and he yells out, while they're rolling film, shark fishermen have small wieners. And I look right into the camera. I go, I guess he talked to my girlfriend.
Unbelievable.
It's like,
Yeah,
really, man?
yeah,
It's just,
I know.
again, it's coming from somebody that's never been out on the water. They're just
I know exactly.
Yeah, and I get it. Listen, you're trying to you're not getting the full story. You don't understand the full
Yeah,
story, so you're coming in with a prejudgment. I don't argue at them. I
yeah.
it's not their fault.
Uh,
They're just getting they're just getting the news from one
Hey,
side. So the people I argue with is the people that want to put money behind it to stop people from fishing.
yeah,
That's the people I'm upset with, and I'm not even upset with them. Fuck. Being upset with somebody's like drinking poison and hoping somebody else dies.
yeah,
You know, I don't get upset. This is something I believe in. This is something that I want for my industry. And really, honestly, deep down inside, I do it for the sharks because God forbid it spills into tourism and somebody says, okay, now we can't, you got to eradicate them. And you just wipe them out, and that's not good for the sharks. And I don't
no,
want that. I don't want that.
no, it's not good for the balance. No, it's not good
That's
for the
why
balance.
that's why whenever these environmental groups or somebody, when CNN called me up to have me on a documentary when Discovery Channel and Shark Week wanted me on, and they like to introduce, the supporter of killing sharks. I go, man, you can call me what you want, but that's not my goal. My
Yeah.
goal is we're stewards. We have to act responsibly. And if we don't do it, if you just kick the can down the road, it's going to come to a point that somebody's going to get hurt, really hurt, and they're going to have influential family members. And then the sharks don't stand a chance because the sharks are only doing what sharks do. They eat. That's
Right.
it.
They're making a living. That's my father used to
They're,
say. My father said,
yeah, they're
yeah, my
making a
father said, they're
living.
making a living. They're making a living.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
agree.
And
But you know,
I don't want them. So listen, this is, and when they asked me to go back on HMS, um, really, and don't get me wrong, I've made a living blue marlin fishing, and I still go do it, and
yeah,
I support it. But I went back on mainly because of this shark thing, because I think it's a 2 to 3, if not a 5 prong assault. And I hate to use that word. It's just you got to educate the people.
right.
And if
That's
I'm going to
exactly.
sit here and complain about our government uh, rules and regulations about not educating the people, and I don't use the tools that I have at my fingertips to do it, then I'm a fucking hypocrite. So that's why. And listen, if they're listening, which I'm sure they will, I've even talked about having these environmentalists on my podcast. If somebody wants to come on here or they ask me to go on there, I'll go. I'll talk about it. When I went to the Discovery Channel, the guy was very argumentative to me, and I'm like, "Hey, man, you can be defensive and argumentative, and I'm okay with that. But just so you know, when by the time this thing is said and done, you and I are going to agree on 80% of the topics. We're just not going to agree on how to get to the last 20. There's no
Right.
fucking way. There's no fucking way." And by the end, he volunteered to help me on my next shark tournament. Because really, I don't want killing, just blatant killing of sharks. What I want is it's a resource to be managed properly.
Right. Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
all I want.
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, I'm going back on to, again, to continue addressing. We got a bunch of other shit to address.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, and I had John on the podcast a few months ago, and I told him, listen, what we should do is we should do this after every HMS meeting, or if you want to do it every quarter, I'm happy to do it every quarter so we can report back what we talked about.
Right.
I'm happy to do it. And we talked about the 10 knot zone, which is another fucking cockamamie idea.
Oh, my God.
Uh,
Makes no
we
sense at all.
we talked about the windmill farm, which I really pitched a fit because as they were talking about our opinion, I'm like, wait a second. You guys already sold these fucking leases. Oh yeah, we did. Then why are you asking us? You already made your fucking decision. You're just checking the box. Go fuck yourself. I get it. Somebody got paid. But don't come
Yeah.
after me after the fact to be your CYA,
And
you know.
now the leases are going over to Total Energies for gas exploration off the coast. So we're going to have gas wells. Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
It's just,
Here's the thing. We're all just little cogs.
yeah.
And they're just trying to make money off our backs. And
Right.
if you can be a squeaky enough wheel, listen, here's my thing. I just want to go fishing.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I just want to. Oh, look, speak of the devil. I just got my iCat uh, email. But I just want to go fishing and I want to make sure that we're protected as best as possible so we
That's
can
it.
continue doing the things that we want to do
Yeah.
responsibly. I don't want us going out there wiping everything out because that's not right. I want proper conservation,
Yeah.
both recreational and commercial. And I'm okay talking with the environmentalists, but at the same time, they've got to understand it. It's a resource. We got to conserve it. We don't have to preserve it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Because and you know what? And your dog barked at me to let me know to use this as an example. The best conservation group out there in our country is Ducks Unlimited. Ducks Unlimited shows you that the person that's using the resource is most likely to conserve it. They go and use all their funds to buy more wetlands, to have more habitats for the ducks, so they have plenty of ducks to go hunting for. Period. End of question. The person that's using the resource is going to be most likely to conserve it. And I'm just a firm believer in that. And yeah, that's my fucking soapbox, man.
No, that's great. No, and there's only one thing I wish DU would do. They don't do. They kind of are against trapping the predators up on the northern prairies, and they need to start thinking about that.
When you say the predators, are you dealing with coyotes up
Yeah,
there?
on the nesting. So what
Okay.
happens? They're raiding the eggs. Raccoons. Oh, they're raiding the eggs, and they're bad with that.
Ugh.
But so they don't
Listen,
trap.
I've reached out to a guy out of Wyoming. I want to get him on here to talk about the wolves.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
whole nother ball game.
oh my! Listen, the shark
Yeah,
people and the wolves, man, come together. This could be fucking interesting. We could see sparks
yeah.
fly.
I know. I'm on a page with a bunch of them, and I don't like the idea that the feds reintroduce the wolves. Okay, it's
I
not the wolf's problem. It's not the wolf's problem,
no,
and the wolf's just trying to make a living. So if he can make a living on flying Navarro's young calf in that field, he's going to get your calf. I mean,
exactly.
that's what he does. So it's not the wolf's fault. The feds now are going to have to allow, which they're not doing, they're going to have to allow some management of them. All right, some hunting of it. They're going to have to. My thing is, and I told one of the guys in Montana, no bow hunting because you don't want a wounded wolf. All right.
No,
And you have to have a certain caliber rifle. Okay. So, and you have to, maybe it's a special permit where you have to prove you can actually shoot. Okay. Just don't let everybody get a license for them and manage them, hunt them down to a sustainable population where they're not in Fly's field eating your cows. Right.
yeah.
That's it. I mean,
Well, the,
but we can't have them.
a big problem with what you're saying is they brought wolves that were already eating fucking cows in British Columbia
I
and they brought
know.
them down to
I know.
Colorado. It's
I
like,
know.
why did you get the ones that are already eating cows?
I know. Well,
It just
they did
doesn't
the
make
same thing.
sense.
They did the same thing in Jersey here when they introduced the coyotes. When the
Oh,
coyotes became a problem, right? So,
Lord have mercy.
yeah, yeah.
Lord
So,
have mercy. Well, Jimmy, we've reached 2 hours. I got to say thank you so much. I
hey,
really, really appreciate it. Um, if you can stand by 1 second, let me sign off for everybody. Everybody who's listening,
yeah,
big thank you to Jimmy Donafrio telling us a little bit about what has led us to where we're at now in fisheries. There was a lot of hard work done by Jimmy and by the Healy's and by a lot of people over the years. So just to give you a good idea where everybody's coming from and next time you see Jimmy out there clamming, say hello to him and or shooting at some ducks, just make sure you come up behind him. Don't let him fucking wing you. But again, Jimmy, thank you very much. And everybody who's listening, we will check you guys later.
thank you, Fly. God bless.